Yes. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the not so sunny shores of Britannia. I had to diss the weather in there. Yeah, normal British weather here. I'm Nexie. I'm here on my own in the commentary booth today for season 8 of FRL. Furry Racing League is what we are officially called. FRL is the name that I will be going with. Oh, come on in. I am here. Excited for a new season. An 8th season of FRL. And it'll be a good season here, I think. Right now, we have 17 drivers to introduce and get to know over the course of this quarter hour of qualifying. 17 minutes to go. Several coming on out immediately. Our first is Jork the Elf in the Haas, returning for the Haas team. He's the sole Haas representative today, leading off this procession. We didn't have an Alpine right on behind. I believe that is Troy. Troy returning. First time for the French Alpine. We then have a Red Bull. That is Pridas returning in the Red Bull. With a new teammate, he will have the Australian. It is currently Sat-Am Fan 99, but that is also Brian Shadowbuck. I'll be calling him probably Brian or Buck throughout the commentary today. Just one of those old name differences. I guess he really likes the Sat-Am. We have an Aston Martin coming on out. Avo returning for their new season. Staying with the team, Aston Martin remaining with the consistent driver lineup of Avery and Skyler. We have a new Ferrari coming on out, one they've not seen, Nitro. Gonna be taking things in the Scuderia. Kimaru gonna be having his first time in the Scuderia after being in the V-Carb last season. We have our second Alpine coming on out as a couple drivers are getting things started. We have Tripaseca here in McLaren, as well as Sam. We have John, our reigning champion, and now in the Williams, as there's a caution in Sector 3 for the Scuderia boys. I think just a little bit slower. But we do have Jork going to be getting us off with an invalidated lap time. Good start. We have Morgan in the other Alpine on a lap. And we have Troy, who is currently setting the first time of Season 8. Well, the preseason, anyway. A couple other drivers to get to know. We have Leo returning, our Season 4 champion, in the Mercedes. Looking for some more wins. He is a sole Mercedes representative today. We have Luck in the Sauber, soon to be Audi, but currently the Sauber. Pridas calling himself the Oriental Noodle. We have Sierra returning, going out from the comms booth into the car with Lenny as well. Both of them familiar teammates. They were the Alpine duo of Season 4. They are now in V-Carbs. Taking on the second Red Bull team as Troy set the 129.6 to get the ball rolling here. Avo will be the next one up. Potentially doing 2 laps here. I wanted that one. No, Avo manages to get a 127.6, so immediately takes 2 seconds off of that time. Very strong performance from the Aston Martin here. Couple drivers. Couple things to know about the Silverstone circuit. long winding, mid to low 120s will be our lap times today. Some famous corners here going on to the Hanger Straight, as well as Old Pit Road leading up to Cop. Avo's going to be going right on through Luffield as Luck, a very strong qualifier, usually set the 126.7 today. I'm sure that the Hungarian has more in the tank for that one. He was a contender last season. Did struggle a lot in race pace, but always had good qualifying results. Nitro sets a 134.8. We'll see if other drivers here have times to respond. Jork is still going on through. There is a joke here that I do have to resist. Yeah, he is going to be setting his lap time. We'll see what they're able to put on up. Going into the 130s here with a 132 banker time. At least ensures they won't be last if there is something that happens on track. Nitro, I think, is on a fast lap here. It at least looks like it, but we'll see what the Scarlet Ferrari does. Yeah, gonna be finishing up this lap, so they did have a bit of a build lap, but it's still also not gonna be a top time here. Saddam Fan! Bryant sets a 133.5 in the Red Bull. Little behind our front runners, but we'll see what is able to be set. Top 10 will be getting points today. Going on through Village, where we are seeing Nitro go through. They are setting up, honestly, one of my favorite corners to drive. You have to be very careful on the throttle. You get a little bit of acceleration from the first real braking zone onto the exit. The Formula 1 cars can cut across. In sports cars, you want to compromise that exit in order to set up your run onto the first DRS zone. Then you go on through Luffield, this nice winding turn. And then we have one of the most iconic sequences, the old turn 1 of Cops going on through. And then Lenny setting a 126.7, able to punch right on up to Luck. But then we have Maggots, Beckett, and Chapel, the series of S's that has spawned so many other series like it in terms of S's. Very nice. You have to set up your exit in order to go on down that last DRS straight that you go on through. Take a nice wide turn. You have one last chicane, and then that completes your lap of Silverstone. Letty letting a Mercedes and Alpine by. We'll see what Leo has in the tank here. A champion driver, a routine race winner. Been here since the start. Also our admin, but he does not really take FIA decisions. Here comes Leo with a 126.9. So all things considered, Avo at his home race, punching well above his weight. We do have Noble as well in another Williams down on there. Whole boatload of drivers yet to set the time. We have Morgan on her fast lap. She was competing for race wins here and there throughout the season. Strong driver. Wasn't quite able to mount the championship campaign, but she has shown a lot of quick improvement season by season. Doing a lot of other sim racing too throughout F1 and I believe the occasional other game, but primarily on F1 here. Takes Cops. The Cops is a 7th gear corner. You want to just what a lot of drivers will do, I think what the actual cars do is they will just flick down the gear but keep flat on the pedal. You can't quite do that in game. You can kind of take it flat, honestly, with some, depending on the setup. Same with Maggots Beckett's You are in a lot higher gear than what the real drivers here do. You can also take a lot more curb, but Morgan playing it safe, having not set a lap yet. Sets a 1:27.6, puts her ahead of the lead Aston Martin of Avo, who is out on a fast lap herself. Going on now through Cops. Famous corner where some drivers had a little scuffle in a certain season. A little scuffle, to put it lightly, anyway. This track has seen racing since the start of Formula One as a format in open wheel racing, Grand Prix racing in general. Very historic ground to fight on as Avo peels off into the pits. Not liking their lap. Could be hard to tell if a driver is on an in-lap or not sometimes. As we have Nitro not necessarily letting that Alpine by quite until getting into the sequence of corners there. I believe that is Troy. No, that was Morgan, who wasn't on a fast lap anyway. So no harm, no foul done there. Do have another V-carb out. Sierra looking to set a time. He's coming out on an outlap, and then we have Lenny right on there. Both of them on outlaps. Both V-carbs. 7 minutes to go. Several drivers out on the circuit. McLaren circulating on through. We do have a McLaren coming up. That is not Seka. They have invalidated. That is Sam going on through. Also on a slow lap. I think doing multiple outlaps there, just given the pace. So several drivers will now be going on through. Lenny's going to be looking to improve and challenge for pole position. We do have Luck also now going through Cops. We'll see what kind of pace Luck is able to manage right now. Luck not quite looking great through Beckett's Chapel, but we'll see where that goes. That could also just be an error on my telemetry. We have Lenny setting a strong pace through Sector 1, getting now through Luffield. Here, holding outside, takes the late apex, but kind of misses it a little bit. Lenny going on through here, getting dirty air from the McLaren ahead. That's going to make it tricky to go on through Meggett's and Beckett's right now, but we'll have some slipstream as well. The bright pink Frenchness of the Alpine going on through. Of the V-carb, excuse me. Going on through. I am associating pink with Alpine. I forgot that that V-carb had a special pink livery. I will be honest. Lenny going on through. Taking now a strong lap through here. The Ferrari letting him go right on by, and then going to be getting dirty air to separate him out a little bit more. But Lenny takes that last apex and sets a pole position time of 1:26.497. Very strong pace out. Luck in the pits now, not liking his lap. The Hungarian Husky looking to potentially have one more go. He will have the time for one more go. We have Sierra also setting a 1:27.2 on that last lap. Just in the normal V-car. I did not actually know that your cars could have different liveries. Oh god. So Lenny is running the special pink V-car. And Sierra will be running the normal V-car. What in the BAR is this? We have Avo and the Aston Martin on a flying lap there. We also have Skylar on an out lap. We have some Ferraris and a, not a Red Bull, but that is one of the V-carbs on the cooldown lap. Or is that the Williams? John has yet to set a time. So, yeah, those are the V-carbs out there. John has yet to set his time. We have a Williams coming on in. John, I think, has just been invalidating laps as he is pulled into the pits. Avo a little bit behind. We'll see if this is a nope, peeling into the pits. That's Avo done for now. Ahead of Noble, but behind Morgan. But only barely behind Morgan. A very strong performance from the bird, who seems to have set their perfect lap. Sierra peeling off into the pits. He was on an in lap. Sierra, or as I keep accidentally calling him, Pritis. Speaking of Pritis, the Oriental Dragon going on through. Setting in... Or is this a flyer? It probably is meant to be a flyer here. We'll see what it is. It's a 128.5. Good improvement. Strong improvement. Bumps him up to P9. Trippa. They are P10. Going on through now. Looking at some strong preseason performances. We have two drivers yet to set a time. Kimaru, who was invalidated again. And we have John. Both of these drivers probably struggling with the track limits. We'll see what they're able to put on out. Pit lane activity going on. Synchronized pit lane activity. Oh, beautiful sync job from the Williams crew there. But John, our champion right now, at least in this preseason race, struggling. He's also doing endurance racing with Trans Am, a team that does a lot of iRacing. Led by a former driver here. John has retired and left the session, apparently. Let me get that sorted. But yes, as I was saying, John doing a lot of endurance racing with Trans Am, led by a former driver here, Zed, who retired, I believe, at the end of Season 5. To do a lot of iRacing. So it's going to be Morgan here. So John starts, he will be starting at P17, exactly at the back. And that's why even if your banker lap is bad, you do want to set a banker lap. Because it's better to have a time than none at all. Here we all go, though. Here we all go, though. Qualifying wrapping on down. Whole lot of time still to be set. We have Luck setting his last lap. We have a Ferrari Kamaru going on through, as well as John. We have another Ferrari on an out lap, sorting some positions out with the V-carbs. Luck getting a nice pace out of it. We also have Lenny, who will be behind. Sierra's down there in that fourth position on the outlap as Kimaru goes wide. He did set a P9 time, 128.3, but yeah, the Aston crew are well above their weight here at their home track, taking over the old Jordan facilities around here that they inherited from Eddie Jordan through Force India, Racing Point, etc. A strong lineage here for that British team. And now Luck going to be looking to set a time right on here. And it's a 125.981. That immediately puts the pressure on Lenny, who is a couple tenths up right now. Will he have a 125 in his sights? No, it's a 126.4. Still a very strong time, but where Luck pulled that time out, I have no idea, but it was a very strong time. Leo gets onto the front row, pipping Lenny, his old championship rival. The German still has that pace in him and the fire. It's all dragons on the second row, but could have been an all dragon first row if Husky did not have something to say about it. Preseason race going on now. There aren't any points at stake, but our top three in the qualifying session learning that there are teams right now with a much stronger pace. Avo having wonderful improvement right now. Really only a second off of a lot of the race winning pace. Like, that is podium pace that Avo has right on there. Especially if things go wrong up front, which we'll see if now Luck has been working in the off season on consistency. He does have that pole time. He just needs to be able to keep that car on track, minimize mistakes. A lot of drivers who struggle with that though, and that is a very I'm gonna say that is a very common issue, just athletes in general, where you have these flashes of really good, but the hardest thing to do often is um, it's often really hard to, you know, what I am saying. I had an ADHD moment there. It is often really hard to refine that talent, find that consistency, and keep those flashes. Actually, as a sim driver myself, I say sim driver like that makes me special, but it's what they're doing. Um, one of the pieces of advice I got that I really love and take to heart is your pace isn't your one lap qualifying endeavor, as it looks like we are rehosting the lobby. I believe. Yeah, we are. So, gives us a moment while we sort through some technical difficulties, but our your one lap pace is not your pace. Like your true race pace. Your true race pace is what you are able to consistently do lap after lap. Your personal best is just your personal best. Um, if your personal best is happens to come from that lap where everything just manages to come together, great, cool. Now do that lap after lap. And most drivers can't. Um, even like in Sims, like a few of the only people who are able to do that consistently are like Yarner Watney and stuff who put time in to ensure they can do that. And it's their job, it's their full career. But even still, Yarno's pace is not like a record he sets in a in a like time trial ideal conditions grinding to get the perfect lap. His pace is what he does lap after lap in an actual race situation. So that's something that I try to take to heart, and it helps keep me from focusing on the personal best and just focusing on what I am hitting. It's taking a while to load out of that session, I will say. Let me let them know. Right, I am getting into the lobby now. There was also a slight procedural infringement that happened. It's not a big deal in the preseason. Oops. Yep. We are continuing on. I like how Prudess has now set his flag to the Chinese flag. This is very, I will avoid the joke for the sake of professionalism and avoiding cliches. Oh boy, here we go, once again. I'll do this. Yes. I have just learned that it's the dang power unit that is causing the Aston Martin in real life problems. Oh boy. Let's do some fun too with Apple TV and F1 TV to watch the actual season. Well, that, here we go. All right, here we go for the formation lap right now. We have a Husky on pole once again in FRL. Starting on the medium tire. And the right alongside him, the Soul Mercedes. And the first of our 3 dragons in a row. It's our Season 4 champion, Leo. It's an all V-Carb second row, the pink V-Carb being led by Lenny, another champion driver. And then Sierra, his longtime teammate, partner, friend. Not partner, but friend. We then have Morgan and Avo on the third row. Avo, the highest starting Aston Martin. One of his highest starts in an FRL sanctioned race, if I'm being honest. I bet he is really wishing this was for points today. We have Noble starting off. And Skylar, the second Aston Martin behind the lead Williams. Rounding out what would be points-paying positions in the regular season. Kimaru, the lead Ferrari and the lead McLaren of Sam. We have Pridas in the second Red Bull. First on the grid, leading off row 6. And then it is Tripaseca, the second McLaren behind. Troy in the behind Alpine in P13. And then Jork in the Soul Haas today, P14, starting on hard. 2 more soft runners. We have Brian in the second Red Bull and Nitro behind. And then finally, failing to set a qualifying time in the nice golf liveried Williams. It's John. Luck and Leo have already gotten to their grid boxes, while the rest of the grid is just now pulling in. Lenny likes to take his time on the formation laps. Very large grid today to start off this preseason race here in Silverstone. It's a lot sunnier than it was earlier thanks to the reset, but it's because there was no rain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. FRL's away in Silverstone, and John gets a really good launch off of the back of that Golf Liberated Williams. He's going to be making progress, but Lenny's looking onto the outside. He managed to get the jump on Leo. Lenny is now fighting Luck for the lead, and Lenny, on those soft tires, is about to take the lead into lap 1, and we have a full course yellow. Safety car, as Jork went off in turn 1. There was probably some large amount of contact. A lot of positions shuffling. The person who's gotten away most fun here is severe collision with Brian in the back with Prid. Brian now up in P17. Prid, that's a broken wing for, and he's out. He is out to the race after getting caught up in something there. That is Brian out. Nitro has a broken rear wing. I'm not entirely sure what was happening over there. But we know a very broken apart field and a full course yellows, full safety car. It is a full safety car. I think there was just some issues around the Delta, the safety car Delta, and how finicky it can be, and maybe some bouts of panic, as it looked like one of the Ferraris had just broke hard on that straight, and somebody didn't react, or Brian wasn't slowing down enough. It's hard to tell. A lot of drivers peeling off into the pits right now. That's an Alpine and an Aston Martin in the pits. I think Avo has some kind of damage too. A lot of drivers peeling off into the pits now. We have McLaren in the pits. Heartbreaking start to a career for Brian in the Red Bull there. It wasn't a very... It's a tough position to be in here. But we'll see. We'll see if you're able to bounce back from that. That is an important skill in its own right. Lenny Luck, Leo is our current running order. Lenny managed to get ahead of Luck. They were kind of battling side by side going onto the straight, but Lenny gets to save some of this soft tire a little bit. He's still going to be the first one to pit by far in this front group. So he's going to be fighting for an overcut here. But he is in the position he wants to be. Leo started on the hard tires. And kind of predictably, you could say, fell back in the third. Really lost the jump to Lenny, who just had the soft tires. You get more grip on the start, the ability to put the foot down just a little sooner. Avo's on hard tires right now. We have Skylar on mediums. And that other Aston Martin up to P5. John, meanwhile, went from P17 to P6 through all this. That's a champion's driver right on there. That's the second Aston Martin going off into the pits. And a 10-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags? But he went into the pits. But I guess the game counted that as an overtake. Huh. Well, a couple other drivers now peeling off into the pits. This is not the start to a race you really want to see, even a preseason race. The consolation for Brian and co is that there aren't any points on the line, but if you're in that Red Bull garage, you want the practice. You want the ability to get used to side-by-side racing, fighting alongside some of these drivers here. You want to be able to have just a strong bout of practice, but you know. Yeah. Safety car coming on in this lap right now. Everybody's going to be focusing as Lenny gets us going in Britain once again. Zooming on down. There's a Ferrari and John fighting. John now up to P5 right now. The Aston Martin's days are coming completely undone right here. Lenny fighting on through. Going on, swinging out wide. And then cutting on in, getting that little bit of sausage curb, but Luck is going to be right on behind us. There's a car that's gone off. There's a car that's gone off. It's John. It's John. John went off there. I think got caught out by the dirty air. A lot of chaos as another safety car comes out. John's missing his several cars missing a wing, and there is another safety car. Yes. Safety car now coming on out. Multiple cars peeling off into the pits once again as John's race is now coming undone after a beautiful start. If you saw the silence, it is because I am doing communications here right now. Preseason races are fun in that regard. Looking up, now it is Kamaru leading a race. He's led laps before, but he's mostly just staying out of trouble here. He will be leading us under safety car. Lenny's getting off of the soft tires, which I think is a good call here. We also have Luck and Leo pitting onto fresh hards. Leo's already been on hard, so he will have to stop again. If some of these drivers decide to start thinking about going into the race. Looks like the accident in the back was Sierra and John having a moment in P5. So, our current running order now, as we enter another bout of caution. We have... I don't think we have gotten a full racing lap yet. But... our running order is currently Kimaru in the Ferrari. Then we have Noble in the Williams. Morgan in the Alpine. We then have two McLarens of Trippa and Sam. Avo's back up in the P6 now in the Aston Martin after the chaos unfolding ahead of him. We then have Jork, the Haas running in the points. We then have Skyler, Nitro, Lenny, just stopping it, along with Luck and Leo. John in P13 after having done a last to fifth challenge. We then have Troy in the Alpine, Sierra and Pridas. The pit strategies for this race are going to be a complete sandbox for everyone involved. In fact, I'm going to bring up our pit stops right now so we can see who has yet to stop. Kimaru, Noble, and Trip are the only... and Tripaseka? They're the only ones who have not stopped. Everyone else has stopped at least once for repairs, presumably. A couple of them are going to have to stop again. Actually, a bunch of them are going to have to stop again. A couple of them can just go to the end if they wish. Morgan can go as long as she wants in the hards. Our race win contenders from earlier, Lenny, Luck, and Leo can go... Well, Lenny and Luck can go to the end. Leo will have to stop again after starting on the hard tire. But presumably he's going to go as long as he can and either pit at a later caution or pit for the sauce. And hopefully keep up with the others in his case. But the ability to win the race gets a little complicated for him. But they are on an even strategy, and assuming they decide to not go to the end in the front pair, they can... It does bring Leo well into this race. Or it at least keeps it a pace battle for him. As well as keeps an undercut alive. Safety car is coming on in this lap as the parade has formed. It will be Kimaru leading us off. A lot of weaving going on to keep the tires warm. But our top 10 is all jumbled up. Only one DNF so far as there's a collision in the back there. Between, with Skyler and Nitro. Collision under safety car is soon. There was just a little bit of a rear bonk. Not quite getting everybody's getting used to the safety car right now. Nitro, I think, was involved in the earlier safety car moment with, yeah, that's Nitro peeling off into the pits, so that broke his wing. Or broke their wing, I don't quite know yet, as we are once again away in, Britain, and Noble was caught completely flat-footed by Kimaru. Noble now under threat from Morgan, who gets off to the inside line, managing to brake well. That's your first real overtaking opportunity here. But now the Alpine's forced to take the outside line. Williams going defensive on the inside. Morgan's washed out wide from Dirty Air. And that's going to be Noble holding the place. Morgan not going to take it under from an off track. But here she goes inside corner of left field, just breaking out that little bit later, having battery. Maybe swiping across the McLaren there, but the McLaren might not have been owed space. You are owed space if you are significantly alongside in this league. We do not do Apex first here. We do normal, civilized racing. Thank you very much. But yeah, Morgan gonna be now putting all the pressure. Noble making that Williams as wide as he can. Leo manages to get by Luck in P9. It is a pace race there. Lenny is still now holding in P11. Skylar is in P8 right now. A lot of fighting going on in the back here, but we have a very strong fight for P2 right now between Morgan and Noble. Let's see what else is going on. Leo manages to get fight on through Skylar. You can see the Sauber 2 getting on by, and that is the Haas of Jork. Sorry, that is the Williams of John. The pink is not anything. That is, I cannot tell what. Lenny, your car is broken my brain. As Lenny manages to fight off a counterattack from Skylar. Skylar now going defensive against John, but Lenny goes wide for the Dirty Air. Dirty Air induces understeer in the car, gives your tires less grip, less ability to turn. Lenny gonna be now looking to the inside, and he manages to get on by the Aston Martin up into P11 finally for him. Jork is now going down into P10, fighting inside with the Williams. Williams taking as much of the racing line as he can right now. And Skylar and Sierra are now going to be fighting here. But we also have P2 Noble catching on up to Kimaru, who has slowed down a little bit. Jork falls on down to P12 meanwhile, and he is going to have Dirty Air as he's trying to fight the car getting on through. Jork going to be looking. Maybe we do have the V-carb of Lenny up there. Skylar going to be able to fight on back as Avo has a moment. And that brings Avo all the way down to P15. The only driver who he's now ahead of is Nitro. Something must have happened there. Is there a broken end plate? No, there is not. Maybe just a moment of Dirty Air going on through Maggots and Beckett's. But we now have Sam having a fight. There's a bit of McLaren going on. Sam hard on the inside, 3 wide as they go on through, going on to the spec straight right now. Leo, oh my goodness! And that's Luck into the wall. These drivers are getting a little aggressive right now. Sam, I don't know. Oh, that's a huge squeeze from John and the Williams right there. Sam now putting on a counter bit of squeeze. They're easing their way through left field. Sam on the outside line. Inside line, you brake a little earlier, but you have a less distance to cover. Outside line, you can carry more speed on through the corner. But the ideal way to overtake is you compromise your opponent's line. That's why these drivers are going to be squeezing each other. The best line to take is the racing line. You go out, in, out. But the second best thing you could do is to get as close to it as you can. And then part of racecraft is compromising your opponent's line so they can go either less out or less in without compromising your own. Huge yellow flags in Sector 2 for Luck, whose race has come undone. Several drivers now going back into the pits here, trying to make sense of this Grand Prix. Like, good luck. Kimaru's pitting now, too. So it's Morgan leading this Grand Prix right now. Non-championship Grand Prix, but a Grand Prix nonetheless. Are you not entertained, my friends? Here we all go, though. A couple drivers going to be looking for position. Net position is going to be an interesting question to get together. Through all of that chaos, Avo's gotten back up into P11 right now. One of their best bets may be to just try to take those hard tires into another safety car period with how this race is going. Hold on to track position like it's going out of style. We have Luck, or Pridas, excuse me, not Luck, fighting in that Red Bull. Luck was in the Red Bull before, and that's kind of what crossed the wires in my brain. Pridas gonna be fighting Jork. A couple time penalties came out, too. Jork has a time penalty here, I presume for track limits, as Luck's gonna be looking to fight. Sorry, Pridas is looking to fight. I did it again. Call me Murray Walker, because I am having a lot of Nexiisms here. Either that or I'm just making up for all the times I called Sierra Pridas. We have Leo in P2 right now. Assuming Morgan's stopping again, it's net P1, but Leo also has to stop again. Which actually puts Lenny in a net P1, I think. Assuming they're all stopping again, except Lenny. Who is in the most realistic position to go to the end. But there's a lot going on here, as Jork is now in the pits, too, pitting onto medium tires. So that puts him at the P14. One DNF so far, despite everything, and that is Brian on a race he was very much looking forward to, and I do feel bad for the Australian driver. Was just at an actual F1 fest. But now our Buck gets to enjoy cheering on his teammates, the Oriental Dragon. A lot of dragons in this group. We have Morgan, who does have a Martin as a Sona, but she also presents herself as an elf, funnily enough. Going on through in that Alpine. We do have Lenny in P3. Still Leo P2. Lenny and Leo are going to be fighting. These two have fought a lot. They know each other well. They're on even tires. It is a fair fight between them right now. The only thing throwing a wrench is pit strategy, but at least for a while, they're going to be able to have a straight old-fashioned duel between the two of them. We have Trippa, a driver pretty new here, getting to practice in. John is now back up into P5 despite everything in this race. That feels like an iRacing open lobby kind of sentence. Sierra in P6 down here in the normal V-carb. We then have Skylar in P7, holding well. Avo has settled into a little bit of a no man's land of their own. Verdes has managed to get past Troy, and is now vaguely on the charge, but he's in his own little race here. Troy's in P9 as well. For a second, it's just how the Maggots and Beckett section is, but for a second I thought I saw a car zip off into the wall. I am surprised Luck did not DNF from his moment earlier, but the Husky now on medium tires going through cops. That was a lot that happened, and I'm sure there are angry barking noises coming on through, and threats to put somebody into a bathtub, knowing Luck. We have Troy now putting onto hard tires. That should be able to get him to the end of the race. I don't hate the decision to go into hards now. Frankly, you could even just get track position with how this race has been. Currently, though, our race leader is Morgan, and our closest fight actually is going to be P5 right now with Sierra, John, and Trippa in the McLaren fighting on out. We also have a fight here for P2, and the fight to effectively challenge Morgan for the race win is what is going on here. As Lenny started to turn up the pressure cooker just a little bit, but we have a very close fight. That's Sierra taking the inside line here, but Trippa's going for the switchback into the pits. The switchback into the pits is a brave new strategy, and that is a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. This brings Skylar up to P6. Skylar not really hurt from his own penalty earlier. We're now going on through, zipping across. Sierra in a fight here. We do have yellow flags for McLaren. That was Trippa, who I think was just slow coming out of the pits, and that's what briefly brought it out. But we do have Sierra now turning up the dial on John, as well as Lenny and Leo continuing to tail each other through Maggots and Beckett's snout to tail. The dragons are, as dragons like to be. Now we have John and Sierra going to be fighting it out. Sierra looking at the back here. We'll have a chance here. And in the back here, ready to pick up any pieces, is Skylar. But yeah, I know Sierra has a very aggressive racecraft to him, as Sierra goes off into the pits. Choosing to not remain behind, choosing to put on fresh tires, as that brings Skylar now into a pure fight with John. Leo and Lenny continuing their little fights, but not really doing too much here. DRS going to be opening on up. As the rear wing lap opens on up, we'll see Leo, Lenny fighting it out. A couple pit changes coming in for the pits that Sierra is doing. Sierra will come out behind Trippa in the McLaren. And there is a little train up ahead led by Avo, who is on 13-lap-old hard tires, clinging to that track position for dear life. And we do have the Ferrari of Kimaru and Noble and the Williams having a little bit of a fight. A little bit of yellow flags here. Maybe a brief off-track moment. But it is now Morgan there. They passed Nitro, who is now lapped in the Ferrari. We do have Skylar and John. There's a couple cars pitting in. Morgan pits. Lenny pits. Leo is now home free. And we'll be leading laps in the British Grand Prix. We do have the other Alpine coming into pit. Sorry, Williams. John's pitting. A lot of cars taken to the pits here. We'll see who emerges in this little pit race between Morgan and Lenny now. But this will effectively be for a net lead. Both pit onto hard tires. Beautiful camera angle, game. Thank you very much for that one, as Morgan now holds a lead over Lenny. Meanwhile, we did get to know intimately the Alpine pit crew. Lenny now able to breach barely into the DRS range, but Morgan's going to be looking to break that DRS as best she can. Leo and Skylar are the next two. Skylar's in P2, and I'm sure he's thinking to himself, how the hell did I get into P2? Sorry, heck, this is a family-friendly program. But Skylar running P2 in the Aston Martin at their home track. That's a fun one. Noble and P5 into Williams. John has split off. We have Luck managing to recover to P12, but Abo is coming in. Skylar's coming into the pits now. That will put him most likely, probably ahead of Noble, but behind Lenny. Leo is also pitting, now onto medium tires. We'll see where he emerges. The German gonna be emerging behind these two. And with no Skylar there, he will have clean air to take use of the medium tires, catch up to these two, and have a bit of a tire advantage. Little yellow flags for the Ferrari that's fully spun around. Little bit of a heart and mouth moment for Leo, I'm sure. We do have Sierra now there, with Trippa coming on behind. Trippa deploying a lot of resources, has DRS. We'll make a nice DRS pass here. Sierra knows there is a 3-second time penalty on the McLaren. You do want to get past right now, though. But there isn't a huge rush. Unless he wants to really try to get up to the Williams and Noble. The Ferrari there is lapped. Nitro, I believe that is. We then have Kimaru in 14, Jork 15. A couple other drivers gonna be pitting again. I see Luck pitting again. As Sierra now has DRS of his own, pulls to the outside. Trippa shows a small defensive move, but not much to do with the overspeed difference there. Little bit of DRS battling going back and forth here as Lenny has the lead of the British Grand Prix now, managing to find a way past Morgan. That pink V-carb is throwing me for a loop. It looks like the Alpine special livery. It does not look like a V-carb. I have words about that livery, and the words are why. We do have Leo in P3 here. Managing to almost get to DRS now. And the more these two fight, and I think they know it, the more it just lets Leo come in on those superior tires.